So in your opinion, Gil, what's the best cardiovascular supplement stack?
PRT and Hormone Optimization Channel. I was on the channel before, so I've been following the channel, watching it every now and then, so be sure to check them out.
Consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and you'll be on your way.
So for cardiovascular, I'm going to assume that we're discussing cardiovascular endurance in terms of long-term or long endurance things such as marathons, running, cycling, etc. Things that help you oxygenate or perfuse better by moving oxygen into your tissues. So we have to stop and think for a second. Endurance it comes in several forms. You have muscular endurance, which is the ability of the muscles to process oxygen and convert it into energy, and therefore eliminate the byproduct of that, which would be lactic acid once the oxygen levels run low. And then you become a little more acidic, and then you start to burn out and the muscles become fatigued. So you have muscular endurance, then you have aerobic endurance, which is the ability of your heart to pump blood through the circulatory system and then perfuse oxygen into your cells and then remove carbon dioxide and other waste products away from the tissues through the lungs. You first have to have the training down for that goal. So you have to be aerobically conditioned for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Your nutrition has to fuel correctly. And then lastly, if we're talking about supplements, understand, obviously you're going to have your acute supplements, which are going to create an immediate response for the task at hand. And then you're going to have your long-term approach of conditioning your body for the response you're seeking. So let's separate that into two formulas. Obviously, CNS or central nervous system stimulants, which, by the way, can be very dangerous for people who are not in phenomenal shape. And even those who are sometimes can overdo it. The acute MIs or heart attacks or strokes or any of the specific cardiac issues that have occurred in athletes usually are a result of CNS stimulants. So be very cautious with those. What are CNS stimulants? When you get into the legal compounds, you're going to talk about caffeine. You're going to talk about anything that causes vasoconstriction, increases blood pressure, increases respiration rate, increases heart rate. Will cause your vision to sharpen quickly so you can react quickly. So all of those things are going to create that. If you look at the sort of illegal type of supplements, you're going to have people abusing asthma medications like albuterol and ephedrine, and you're going to have obviously cocaine and all these things which are also CNS stimulants, amphetamines, which are very, very popular and overused in all sports, come in the form of illegal illicit drugs as well as prescriptions such as Adderall, which is an amphetamine as well. Those are CNS stimulants. So those are going to give an immediate performance-enhancing response to all aspects of fitness, including cardiovascular endurance. When you look at the longer-term approach, what you really want to do is assess how am I going to improve oxygenation in my body? And the answer to that is increase the amount of red blood cells, increase the amount of circulation, and increase the ability to train better so that I could build a well-functioning engine for my goals and my needs. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to supplement with things that are going to help you produce more red blood cells, for starters. And the three things that come to mind there is a quality iron supplement. And for those that find an issue with constipation by taking a direct iron pill, you can take blackstrap molasses, either in capsule or in gel form. That contains about 30 milligrams of iron per serving. That is going to help with erythropoiesis or production of red blood cells. Folic acid is another one that will help with production of red blood cells. And then methylcobalamin of vitamin B12 is another one that's going to help with the production of red blood cells. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, which is a protein that binds to oxygen molecules and helps to transport to your cells. And that is going to elevate the amount of hemoglobin you possess. And if you remember the Lance Armstrong scandal when he was using EPO, which is just erythropoietin, which is essentially a chemical released by the kidneys that produces more red blood cells. This was with a goal of elevating his hemoglobin levels to a point where he can, ride up a hill while carrying on a conversation, where a lot of other athletes had to dismount their bikes because they were gassed and they were burnt down, they were out of breath because they couldn't deliver sufficient oxygen to their legs for that task. And he won a lot of world championships as a result, which were later stripped as a result. So essentially, elevating your hemoglobin with the 3 supplements I mentioned earlier is more of a long-term approach. Conditioning your body, and perhaps, and I'm not condoning this, but perhaps using a CNS stimulant, which, be careful, a lot of pre-workouts contain very high doses of them. A CNS stimulant prior to the activity or race or whatever it is, and check with the organization you're competing with to make sure you're not using anything that is banned and gets you disqualified. But those are really the best ways to improve cardiovascular conditioning. Real quick, I want to touch on one other aspect. Muscular conditioning in endurance is also very important. Your muscles use glucose or blood sugar for energy. Once the glucose, which is the only acceptable form of energy the body recognizes, is depleted, your body will then mobilize fatty acids to convert into glucose. And that is the process of lipolysis, breaking down fatty acids, converting them into glucose in the liver. And once the fats are kind of depleted, then your body goes into a catabolic state of gluconeogenesis by breaking down amino acids from protein. But that's an inefficient later phase. You need to starve in order to get there. Ultimately, one thing that has been found to break down fatty acids fairly efficiently and convert your body from a glucose process into a lipolysis process to converting into glucose is a compound called GW501516, also known as cardarine. It is sold often by SARMs manufacturers, although it is not a SARM. It is a class of drug called a PPAR delta agonist, which acts on a specific receptor in the liver to help lipolysis occur at a more efficient rate. And this helps to preserve glycogen stores within muscle tissues by using fatty acids for energy when you're at a slower pace, so that when you do need that explosive energy, like weightlifting, for example, or anything excruciating or sprinting or uphill cycling, your muscles still contain sufficient glycogen stores and your liver contains sufficient glycogen stores to dump and elevate your blood glucose level so that you can use the energy more efficiently. So guys are going to notice that they're going to have better cardiovascular endurance with cardarine, and they're also going to be able to nail out more reps during training. This also has a good lipid support mechanism by elevating HDL and maintaining LDL levels in healthy ranges. Unfortunately, it is a banned substance in the United States, but you've got to check local laws wherever you may be and see if it's something you can obtain. Just make sure that if you do seek it out, that it is a reputable supplier, and it is often faked, so be cautious there.
Very interesting. Thanks, Gil.
Alright guys, well, do this next. Click on one of these thumbnails to learn a ton more about TRT and hormone optimization. Thanks.